Hey guys, welcome to a whole new episode of Guitar of the Day. I'm your host, Michael Lemo. So today it is Weird Ass Wednesday, and boy is it weird. No, I'm kidding. No, today we have Frank Stallone here, and man, this is going to be an episode for the books. So he's a very own Philadelphia boy, and he's been coming through and giving us shit every day. On basically this very show. He'd be commenting right now saying, "What are you doing, Mike?" So here he is in the flesh to say it himself. Here he is.
Come on in, Frank.
What are you doing, Mike? Hi, Mike. How you doing, buddy?
How you doing?
You're doing a great job on the show,
thank you.
kid.
I appreciate that. All right.
Well, today, I'm really happy to do this, and I really requested to do this because I'm a lover of the archtop big body guitars. This might be one of the greatest archtops ever made. This is a Stromberg Master 400.
Ooh.
This guitar, it was made in 1951 by the Stromberg Company in Boston, Massachusetts. It was a father and son team, Charles Stromberg and his son Elmer, and Elmer was actually the guitar maker, and they didn't have a long career. And these guitars, there's not a lot of them. There's a lot of D'Angelicos, but there's not that many of these. This is probably one of the greatest orchestral guitars ever made. As you see, it has a 19-inch bell. And if you look at the flame and you look at the work and the craftsmanship on this thing, it's really a superb, superb guitar. And if I could afford it and I sold more records in my day, this would be in my home.
Wow.
Forget the Les Paul, this, because this is a piece of art. This is like a violin. So, we're going to see how it sounds. Well, we're out front here with this Stromberg Master 400. To me, still probably the finest orchestral guitar ever made. And I have a first year Super 400. At that time was the biggest guitar and the most expensive guitar in the market, which had an 18-inch bell. This is the Kim Kardashian of guitars because this has a 19-inch bell. And these guitars they're not like mellow because they're more for the orchestra. Yeah. You know what I mean? So if you had till then, my darling, please wait for me. Till then, our heart will come to see our love. Will I see you again? Please wait for me. So you had the mellow stuff, then you'd have like a Roy Rogers song, like Ride in the range together. Oh hell. I'm an old cowhand from the Rio Grande, and my legs ain't bold, and my face is tan. I know every sip at 88, never seen a boy on the Homestar stage. Yippee-yi-oh-ki-yay, yippee-yi-oh-ki-yay. It's an old cowhand that get at the beat of band. Yippee-yi-oh-ki-yay, yippee-yi-oh-ki-yay. Now see, this was used as a percussive instrument because they didn't really have electric guitars then. Well, they did, but the big bands, so this thing was in the background. Before, they used to do a 4-string banjo, like in Paul Whiteman. Mike Pingatore played a 4-string banjo because it was just there for to keep. Like if you were doing like a Nat King Cole song. My voice is raspy enough, I might sound like Nat. Just you, just me. I find a cozy spot, round water for you. Just us, just me, and I find a cozy spot round wonderful you. Oh gee, what are my arms for? What are my charms for? Use your imagination. Just you, just me. Let's find a cozy spot round wonderful. And by the way, I forgot to add, Oscar Moore, who played with Nat King Cole, actually used this exact guitar. And a lot of the greats, again, this is probably, well, Norm, wouldn't you say, probably one of the finest examples. Come on in, Norm.
Yeah.
Would you say this is probably the finest example of an orchestral guitar?
For an archtop jazz guitar, this is like the cat's meow over here. And, I haven't given Frank any crap today, but I'm going to right now. I just want to say, when it comes to lyrics,
The worst.
You're almost there.
Oh, I'm the worst.
You're almost there, but, what was happening is, didn't you tell me that in some of those Rocky movies where they were looking for Mr. T and Drago to take like some shots today?
They used me.
He was the
Well,
sparring
yeah,
partner.
I was the singer and heavy bag, so I fought my brother and Mr. T and sang and wrote music in the movie, so I was kind of a utility heavy bag, if you'd say. And
So anyhow, so that explains the lyric.
well, that seems like, loss of memory would have to do with that. But it's seriously, John Lennon talks about sometimes I can't remember. I'm pretty good at pulling it off. If someone doesn't know the lyrics but they know the song, they go, wow, it's not very good. Some people are like, oh, I'm really into the lyrics. I'm not. I'm into the hooks.
And the melody.
And the melody.
And he does play this stuff really great, and he is a great singer. You should see him live. His show is really entertaining. And then when he starts doing the comedy stuff,
Well, the
that
comedy
kills me. I love it.
To my brother's chagrin, unfortunately, he was in the audience and I'm imitating him. He's just not too excited about it.
How does he sound?
Absolutely. Brother, I would ask you something about the song. It's like when he told me about the guitars here, like trying to buy me a guitar. But he was like reading off a list. You ever heard a thing called like a Les Paul? Yeah, not West Paul. How about a Gretsch? Not Gretsch. So I was just like, he bought me a great guitar here for Christmas, which I wasn't expecting, which is actually
Similar. It's the Epiphone.
Epiphone Emperor. It's actually is in good shape as this. Maybe
Came from the Sons of the Pioneers.
Came from the
which
Sons
was
of the
pretty
Pioneers when I was doing the cowboy stuff.
cool. A guy named Rome Johnson.
Yeah, Ron Johnson. But I want to say one thing. I love the new crop of people working here now. I think it's really great. Nick, we love you, even though you're an old timer. But you got Todd, you got Mike, and everyone here, and they're really doing
John and Joel.
and Tom and Joel doing a really good job. Joel's hair's looking
Not Tom.
good today.
John.
Who?
John Tucci, our
John.
tech
Oh, John Tucci. Yeah, of course, John Tucci.
Fellow,
The Tooch.
Yeah.
But this is really, I got to tell you, honest to God, when Norm said, Frank, I got something for you. Now, I've seen everything. I've been coming to the store for over 35 years. And when he opened these two cases, I did freak. Because I've seen pictures of them. This is like In Search of the Lost Chord. I've seen pictures of them, but I've never seen one. That's how really rare they are. And if I did have the finances at this time, I don't know if I can go for 50 on this, but
No, it should be a little bit less. But, we have like that, 25% interest. financing.
I would have this in my collection. Seriously, I'd rather have this than like a Les Paul. Because this is a really handcrafted machine by a very small company, father and son. I love the name, Elmer and Charles.
What about the wood on that thing?
The wood is incredible. Look at this is matched. See, it's perfectly,
And all the little details.
Yeah, all this stuff, yeah. Look at the shape this is in. A guitar like this was for a pro. This is not an amateur guitar. Because this guitar probably, in 1951, was probably $500, $600, which was a lot of money back then. That'd be like $8,000. And my Super 400 is 1934, so $400 in the heart of the Depression would be like $20,000. So this was not for like a guy to sit around in front of his, in his barber shop playing songs. This is probably a guy. I'd love to find out the history of this. It was probably a really major guitar player.
Yeah. Well, like with the D'Angelicos, they have like a log of who they sold
Yeah.
a lot of them to. I don't know if there's a log on this stuff, but it's only to the top pros.
Oh yeah, this is not amateur night in Dixie, but D'Angelico, a lot of them were neighborhood guys like Joe the barber.
Yeah.
He was like in Greenwich Village, Italian guy. Said, "Hey, Ginny Boombatz wants a guitar for his son," but it was like $200 back in those days. But I have that book with the list. It's incredible.
You know, the other day we were talking about the Philly guys.
Philly guy.
You know, and you know, it's strange that the guys from Philadelphia can't say those L's.
No, they can't say L's. Philadelphia. Philadelphia. Hey, yo, where you going? Philly. Like if you're dating a girl named Sally. Yeah, he's down visiting Billy. You know, if a guy's muscular, he's muscular, which means, sounds like a crayfish. Muscular. Like a mollusk. So, yeah, this would be like, yeah, where'd you get that Stromberg? D'Angelico. But I would love to find out. There's got to be a lot. I mean, how many? I think he only made 500 of these guitars. I think they're
Yeah, that's less than the D'Angelicos for sure.
Yeah,
and the Master 400 was the top of the line.
Yeah.
That was the one.
Did they make other models of Stromberg?
They did. They made a 300. They made the G1, 2, and 3.
But this is the Big Daddy.
Yeah, the G series is more like the L7, which was just not quite the woods and all that. The Master 300 and 400. The Master 300 was kind of like a Super 300, and the Master 400 was.
If you found a New Yorker,
Super-
D'Angelico, like remember like Mel Bay used to play in the book? That's worth a lot of money too, right? If you had one like in this
yeah,
shape from the 40s and 30s, the
Well,
New
and the
Yorker.
early cutaway ones are.
Oh, the cutaways are worth a lot too.
Yeah.
Did he ever make a cutaway?
Yeah, he did.
Is that worth even more than this?
Probably. If you got one in this kind of condition, again, everything depends on the example. This is an amazing example. Anybody who loves this type of guitar, somebody would be very proud to own this.
Well, you know, it's funny. Now they're doing road-worn guitars.
Yeah.
Now, I've been a professional musician 54 years. I've never seen guitars that beat up in my life because that's the only guitar you had, so you tried to take care of it as well as you can. So when you see a guitar, it's trash. This guitar was loved. This guitar was
Listen,
taken
you're
care
almost
of.
my age. What would you have said back in the day if somebody said, listen, you're going to buy jeans, but they're going to have holes in it, and you're going to pay extra for those
You're going to pay
holes?
$300 for them. Yeah, my car cost $110. So, yeah, you would never think, you know, my Gibson Explorer cost $150. My Les Paul Sunburst cost me probably everything $200. Right there, we're talking almost $1 million. Because you said the Explorer went for $600,000.
Yeah, sometimes they could be more.
$600,000. But
it's a lot of dough.
I mean, you know, but this is museum stuff. This is something I don't know if I'd will this to my kids. It's still too nice. I'll will them like my K.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, a K, yeah.
Well,
anyway,
all I could say is, Frank Stallone, we made him promise the other day he'd do Guitar of the Day. He is a man of his word. He came in, and despite all the headaches and people trashing you and me and everybody, you came in to do it.
I did. And what were your words of wisdom before starting? Now, Frank, make sure you got your stats right because they'll come after you.
The internet police, they come after you if you mess up.
Well, I think half the people, and not out of disrespect, that do watch the show and do comment, they don't even know what this guitar is. I mean, there's very few people who know what this guitar is.
But if you're half blind and you look at this, you can see the quality.
Look
of
at
this.
it. Look at all this. I mean, just a headstock.
Detail is incredible.
Boston, Massachusetts. So he probably was in a little bit of competition with D'Angelico because D'Angelico said New York. So it's a little bit of D'Angelico, Gibson, Super
Right.
400.
It was like taking the production guitars like the Gibsons and Epiphones and taking it a step further and making it truly boutique.
But you could tell he was in. They all took a little from each other. I'm sure D'Angelico
He got a
admired
lot
his
from
work.
Gibson.
Yeah. But I'm sure D'Angelico, I mean, being a real luthier, you cannot look at this guitar and say this is not a really well crafted.
Everything is based on something.
Based on something. And this also has one piece that like there's like a strut. So he had his own kind of bracing. See? But he had his own. So they all had their own thing. But this is wonderful. Norm, thank you for having
Thank
me.
you,
Jennifer,
Frank. So
thank
to
you.
Philadelphia.
Philadelphians, Mikey. And Frank, Mike. That's hey, yo, Mike.
I'm from Philly too. You know.
That's right,
originally.
Norm.
Thanks, Frank.
That's how I go, yo, Mike, how you doing? Let's go down shore.
Bye.
See you, bye.
Yeah.